Hello, hello, welcome. How are you today? I hope you are doing well. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, everything should be fine. Well, today we are having another. Hello, Carla. Today we are having another talk that are coming before the self knowledge tools workshop, because before we learn tools to deal with our discomforts and so on, we first need to know that we have them. It's really common that sometimes, we just feel there is something wrong, but we don't know where this comes from, what is the reason behind it. So let alone how to heal and integrate that. So my proposal here is to, start bringing you questionings, because maybe, uh, or you get an insight right away, or you start to think about that, and then you realize that that's actually the road that you need in order to feel a little bit better, in order to open your mind and and raise your consciousness. So I'm not sure the internet is that good. If you can just confirm, Carla, you're listening me well, that would really help me out, because somehow the image is like this. So I am Ella Morello, and I want to thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Um, Sharing with me the most valuable resource you have, which is your time. Today, we're going to talk about something that is really common to us, which is, um, do you believe that being your own priority means being selfish? Or do you allow yourself to be your own priority? Again, I'm not sure if you ever thought about that. That's the whole idea of this talks pre-workshop. But let's go a little bit deeper into this talk, because somehow inside of us, it's not that easy for us to allow ourselves to be our own priority. And this has so many consequences. So let's start by the dictionary. I want to share with you what a selfish person means. Well, a selfish person lacks consideration for others. It is concerned with one's own personal profit and pleasure. This is what a selfish person means according to the dictionary. And I'm going to say what the dictionary talks about self love, and I'm going to make an analogy about that. Self love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that supports our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. So why, Ella, did you make this analogy? You know, for me, I have learned this a while ago, and this made complete sense, because there is not uncommon that a lot of women come to me when they are already burned out, when you are trying to take care of everything, trying to be a superwoman in your life until you reach your limit. Many other times, there is a lot of other consequences inside of us regarding that, because we believe we don't have time for us, because we have so many things to take care of the outside. But guess what? If you don't have what to give to the others, how are you even thinking that you're given anything? And this causes so many problems in our relationships. So I want to invite you to think about self-love and selfishness in this way. Selfishness is when I want to be the most important person of someone else's life. Self love is when I am the most important person of my own life. So let that sink in again. When I am the most important person of my own life, this is self love. I understand I can just give to the other what I have inside. Let's say, is that story about the glass. Imagine a glass of water. I can love you more than anything. You might be the most important person of my life. And you are thirsty. I have a glass, but I don't have water on it. As much as I want to give you water, I cannot offer you anything because there is no water in my glass. So it's absolutely important that I can fulfill my glass, because then with self love, I need to be my own priority. I need to love myself first in order to be able to love you. Okay? When are we being selfish? This really goes in a lot of our relationships. Because why? There is many reasons anyway, but whenever I want to be the most important person of someone else's life, then this becomes a huge problem because, well, you're going to start arguing about many things. Let's say about yourself, you might feel you don't have value, that that person doesn't love you because that person doesn't do the things that uh, don't put you first, and so on. That's why I started this live and this talk with this understanding about the difference of self love and selfishness. Okay, we're going to talk today about being our own priority and how can we do that. So first, it's important that we understand that in order for us to be alive, we need to fulfill our glass of water first. You know, when you go on a plane, that they say 1,000 times, first, if the air pressure, whatever, goes out, first you put your mask and then you help the person next to you. If you have a situation with that, and we are going to get into the root causes of that, sometimes I really used to think that, oh my God, that's an absurd. If I ever have a kid, obviously I'm going to put the oxygen mask first in my kid. Until I understood this concept, and this goes in life. Listen, if something goes wrong with that oxygen mask, I'm not helping my kid. Why? I'm going to be without the oxygen. How can I fix her mask and her oxygen if I'm not breathing first? And this all made sense. So, because here we are never talking about the other, we are always talking about us. I want to say why is important that we start creating time to be our own priority. Well, you got it right about the plane. So that's really important. And second is something that I touched base a little bit, which is about the burnout. So a burnout is a state of physical and mental exhaustion. You might have struggle of go out of bed, you might feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet these constant demands. So if we live a life that we reach a burnout and then somehow we go do a trip or we finally ask for help or whatever it is, and then we go back into this vicious cycle, because it is the world that exists is so fast. It wants so much from us every day more, that literally, if you don't stop and realize that you need to feel peace within in order to be able to even live and do your tasks, literally, you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing through life. You're never going to flow. You're never going to truly feel at peace. It's just going to be a constant burnout. Try to recharge, whatever that means to you. You might be trying to recharge just on trips. You might trying to recharge getting drunk. You might try to recharge uh, eating a lot. Do you see that any of these solutions is actually a solution? We are just masquerading the symptoms, and we're going to keep burning out, trying to go back, burning out, trying to go back. So understand that I love this phrase. The time to meditate is actually when you don't have time to meditate. The time to take care of yourself is actually when you don't have time to take care of yourself. And you can put this in any other sentence you would like. So it is an utmost priority and importance that you become your own priority. So now I want to go back because I am relating us being our own priority to self-love. In nowadays there's many reasons why it's so hard for us to do that. So I'm going to suggest a couple of things and I'm going to a couple of places. Okay, so bear with me. Self-love, one definition, obviously, it means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. Wow. Wow. How many times do you do that a day? I'm not even asking, in your life. How many times do you sacrifice yourself to please others? Well, this might be for many reasons. You might think that if you say your truth or if you put your limits, you're going to be abandoned. You might also sacrifice yourself because you want to be part of something, you want to be loved. That's natural of the human being. We want to be loved, we want to be part. But self-love means not sacrificing your well-being to please others. Another one. Self-love means not settling for less than you deserve. Maybe you were in that situation before, or you know someone that was. Have you ever settled for something that you thought you deserved better? It can be a relationship, a job. You can have all justifications coming into your mind. I needed a job. The relationship was not that bad. But somehow inside of you, you thought you deserved better. So again, whenever we don't love ourselves and we don't work towards loving ourselves, because the world outside does everything for us not to be vibrating there. So the invitation is consciously, let's go start working on our self-love, whatever that means to you. So this goes for my other point, which is self-love actually means something different for each person, because we all have different ways to take care of ourselves. So figuring out what self-love looks like to you as an individual is an important part of our mental health. Again, we always try to be. There is 7 billion people out there, and somehow, I have no idea where this comes from, we believe that everybody has to like the same things, have to behave the same things, have to have the same life. That's that talk that always happens. If you're getting, I don't know, close to the age of having to get married, when are you getting married? And then when are you getting kids? And then when are you getting the second kid? And this brings so many other things to us, right? We talked here another day about success. What is success for you? For majority of people, if you don't think about it, success is having $1 billion in their account. Truly? What it is success for you? What it is whenever you're laying down on your bed, about to die, you're going to look back what is going to be the things you're going to feel you succeeded on? Okay? So that's the whole invitation for us to start questioning ourselves in that way. I want to say that also before we proceed, that whenever we relate to the other, because I said here, maybe you want to please others. There's many reasons why you might be wanting to please others. Maybe you want to be part of something, right? Maybe you were afraid of being abandoned. That's the root cause that we are going to do all this work in order to get there. But I want to invite you to think about one thing. Uh, I already spoke to you about our inner child and the adult. Okay, whenever we relate to the other, with the other, from our inner child, uh, that means we want to be loved, admired, validated, accepted. We are not relating to the other. So whenever you do something for someone in your own expense, it is because you're loving that person, you believe you're loving that person, but you are actually not even relating to that person. Consciously relating to the other is only possible from our adult self. Okay, so what does taking care of the other means to you? So I want you to really pay attention into these questions for you to ask yourself later on. Are you allowed? Do you allow yourself to say no? First, that's the first question. The second is, do you allow yourself to say no without the need to justify that no? The third one, if still in this line, do you allow yourself not to lie about the reason you're saying no? For example, you're tired, you are emotionally exhausted, whatever it is, I'm giving you an example. And your great friend calls you. No, listen, I really would need you to come, whatever reason it is. And you really do not feel like going. You really don't, but you know how important this is for your friend. So, from 2 1, if you are a people pleaser, right? Because you don't want to be selfish. And again, you are not your own priority. That's what we're talking here, right? And again, she's a really dear friend. You love that person. No one is saying you don't, okay? So, what happens when we don't allow ourselves to put our limits, to understand that being our priority is not being selfish? From 2 1, or we go not wanting to go, and you say, yes, let's go, and you go and you do the biggest effort forever. So, you are doing something for the other at your own sacrifice. Or, second, sometimes you might say no because, and you invent a lie and you create something. No, because you don't know, my dog is vomiting. Because in this way, the other person is not going to feel that hurt because you know you had an emergency, but deep down, you're only not comfortable saying no. You're feeling guilty about saying no. Where is this taking us? You literally believe that you being your own priority means you are selfish. You believe you cannot say no. You believe you need a reason to say no. Then you can even go look back in your childhood, but this is a talk for another day. Uh, Another question I want to ask you here. Do you healthily impose your limits without fearing being abandoned? Meaning, listen, I can do, the person comes to you and says something, listen, I can do up to here. Do you allow yourself to actually say what you feel, what you believe? Or maybe sometimes just what you want. You know, there is this real need, and the not real need. Maybe this is a little bit too deep, but I'm going to try to give an example for you to bear with me. Let's say, you know that for yourself, it is really important to have your own space. Whatever that means to you, I'm just giving you one example. So you know your personality, your limit is, I need to have my own space. I don't like thousands of people coming in and out my house, or whatever it is. You don't like to receive guests to stay over a lot of time in your house, a week, whatever it is. So you know that one of your limits is, I like to have my space. Okay. But then something happens, because always something happens, and you don't want to hurt that person, and that person say, you know what, can I go to your house and stay in your house? Maybe the person comes and say a week, or maybe a month, or maybe she doesn't even say a time frame, whatever it is. And then you start inside of you, you really want to say, because that's your limit, no, I am sorry, you cannot be here. But then maybe your mind goes, oh well, can I help this person? Yes, shit, I can help this person. And then you start getting to this confusion about being selfish and being your own priority. Okay, you see that I am taking this own priority to different levels, to different places, correct? So, and then you stay there confused. Am I doing that? And then my invitation is, let's understand what is a real need and what is a want. Okay, so I do not want to do this. It's not that it's different than needing. Okay, so one thing that I always try to work and going a little bit deeper is, I need to understand what my limits are, and I need to understand how flexible can I be without feeling guilt. Because yes, my well-being is important, and if for me having my space is something important, that means I need to honor that. And obviously, we can always fix situations in the outside from different places, but also allow yourself to not just have, for example, no, you cannot stay in my house because I don't have space. So this will be like a no because I have a reason. Maybe you just don't want that person there. And that's fine as well. You have to allow yourself and understand what is a want, what is a need, and validate both. Obviously, understanding what are the flexibility you can have inside of that situation. Okay, so here we talked a little bit about guilt. Okay. What is the most important point of what I just told you? If you internally already feel more guilt saying no to the other than saying no to yourself, you have a problem. You need to look at that. Okay, you should feel more guilt saying no to your own self than to the other. Okay. Again, since we said that self-love can mean something completely different because we all take care of ourselves differently, I invite you to think. Maybe you can start working on that by talking to you and about you to your own self with love, giving yourself a break from self-judgment, trusting yourself, being nice to yourself, forgiving yourself when you're not being able to be truth and nice to yourself. That's how we start understanding how and why and practicing the self-love. So become more mindful, uh, take actions that are aligned with your well-being, make room for healthy habits. So today I want to invite you to do an exercise, okay? Because the root cause of us believing that being our own priority means being selfish may vary, okay? But they might come from literally from the basic. You do not know what your priorities are, or uh, you might believe that you have to take care of everything, because if you don't, no one will take care of that. Another one, maybe you just feel loved and admired and appreciated if you actually receive that answer from the outside, if someone actually tells you that. And then, therefore, you see your worth by the judgment of others. Maybe you're afraid of saying no, and might be related to your lack of self esteem and so on. So, this exercise is to bring up to you, you know, okay, if you realize that somehow in some parts of your life you actually do not prioritize yourself because you believe that this means you are a selfish person, great. We at least brought into conscious something. The root cause, we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper to understand what it is. Or maybe you already know after the examples I gave you here. Maybe you're like, oh, okay, I think that's because of that and that's because of that. Great. Then in the Self Knowledge Tools workshop, we're going to get the the tools in order to actually work more with that. But as of right now, I want to give you an exercise for you to start putting into practice this. So, first, we need to understand what our priorities are. Okay, realize that your time is finite, like everybody else, time is finite. So, you have 24 hours a day, and there's nothing you can do about that. So, you gotta understand your priorities, and you are gonna have to learn to say no to what is not aligned with your priorities. So, first invitation, make a list of 3 to 5 actions that you consider necessary to fulfill your life goals, your well being, your mental health. What it is that you want to leave to your next generations. Okay, so that's the first invitation. For example, express your art, nurture your family, take care of your body, meditate, eat healthy. I don't know. What do you believe? What is, and I'm calling this one the intention list. Okay. What do you want to deliver as a legacy, to whoever that is coming? And what circumstances do you need to create in order to deliver this? Okay, if you are overwhelmed because you have kids and then you have the house and then somehow you work, what do you want to leave as a legacy to your kids? You want them to believe that life is like this, and somehow, what do they see in you? So ask yourself in a deeper level about this question. That's your list of intentions. Okay, and there is no wrong intention ever. Next, you're going to make a list of 5 to 8 items, okay, of non negotiable priorities. This includes your family, your work, your obligations, your clients, your friends, yourself, how many hours you sleep, uh, if you do exercises or not, and so on. So, for example, you're going to put your priorities there and you're going to make this list. So, for me, it's a non negotiable priority that I take my kids to school, that I sleep 8 hours a day, that I hang out with my friends XYZ time, whatever it is. That's the list, the second list that you're going to make, because then you're going to start understanding what your priorities are. Because remember, you just got 24 hours in which you have to sleep as well. So the invitation after you have come up with this list is there anything of your list of priorities that you haven't done, for example, in this day? And why not? Another question, is there anything on your list of priorities that could have been done spending less energy and effort? For example, maybe asking for help. Maybe understanding that you need this and you're going to hire someone to do that in order for you to have time for your priorities. So the invitation is recall your list of intentions. Where does it fit on your non-negotiable priorities? Because if it doesn't, you have to review or your list of priorities of your list of intentions. In order for us, because it's not common, every day more we just look outside, externally, and we don't look inside until our body screams, until somehow you are absolutely anxious, your mind stop responding, you get a physical disease. So we have to be able to balance this, right? And how do we balance this? It's all internally, it's not externally. And every day more, with all this information, with all this hurry, the world, society requiring so much of us, work more, make more money, do masters, blasters, and I don't know what in order to get that job. All this doing makes us being more apart from being. And it is in the being that we start everything of the doing. So if you believe that being your own priority means being selfish, I can assure you that until you don't change that mindset, how you're going to change that mindset? Literally, working, understanding your priorities, allowing yourself your time to take care of you, whatever that means. Understanding how to say no to people and don't feel guilty about that. Understanding that whenever you're crashing down a little bit, what do I need? Well, how do I need to fulfill my glass of water in order not to burn out? So until we don't realize that that's how it goes, we will keep being anxious, staying frustrated with people, uh, having relationships problems, health problems, and feeling completely unbalanced. So if you truly think about your own life, yes, sometimes whenever women come to me, there are different reasons. Sometimes they come and say, I can say no to everyone but my mother. Well, let's go to their route of your mother. There are people that cannot say no whatsoever. Then there is those that just say no, but then that's a different story. I'm talking to you here in order for us to understand, when did we believe that being our own priority means being selfish? And what it is, our limits. Because when we know and establish our limits is when we understand how flexible can we be regarding those limits. The invitation is for us to go back to our own selves in order not just to keep reacting to whatever happened to us, but rather to take control, to work everything internally in order to change the outside. So this was the talk of today. Once again, thank you for being here. And if you have not subscribed yet for the workshop where you're going to learn practical tools to deal with all these things that I am giving you, I hope you do so. And thank you. Thank you for your listening. Big kiss, Marcia. Big kiss, Carla. Thank you for always being here with me. Bye bye.